No, we're gonna keep her so she can make Renee stay.
So call her school first. I promise that she'll be gone. It's
Easily. With the pathway to Carrington.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order. The Durham Public Schools Board of Education is now convened in our regular monthly meeting. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone here and also to our viewing audience. Tonight's agenda promises to be rich in information that will support and enhance our vision statement. Standing committees of the board will present information and reports that will keep you informed on what the district is doing to ensure that our vision of success for every child is realized. The board invites public comment at the beginning of the board meeting and before each agenda item. Board members will carefully listen to and consider the comments from the public, but the board does not engage in dialogue at this meeting. Thank you for taking the time to join us. We're very, very glad to have you with us. And now, please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is Be Our Guest, and Ms. Parker is going to take us through that item tonight.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you here. We have a very special group of people here. These are the persons who send their children to us each day, and we are so happy. We are happy because we hope they're happy. I'm going to ask you to join us when your school is called. Please come, join, and walk the red carpet. And I'm going to ask my colleagues, if you will, please join me in front of the red carpet. So is it on? Yeah, there it is. I said good evening, so it is not, is it evening yet? 6:30, 6 o'clock? Okay, well, anyway, good afternoon, good evening, and I'll be correct either way. I'm going to ask, first of all, to have the parents from Easley to please come up. Next, I'm going to, okay, who is next? I'm going to ask the parents from Spring Valley Elementary to please come up. Spring Valley. Lucas Middle School. And I'm going to ask the parents from the School of Creative Studies to please come up. Parents, Durham School of the Arts, please come up.
Good afternoon, evening. Tonight's first celebration is the Duke University and Durham Public Schools Student of the Month. This program spotlights students who distinguish themselves with character and integrity. This month we are recognizing students from 2 schools. I'd like to ask Tanya Wright, Director of Hillside New Tech, to come up and introduce our first Student of the Month.
Good evening. At Hillside New Tech High School, we believe that to be the best, we must begin by thinking that we are the best. And as you begin to think that you are the best, you become to know that you are the best. And when you know that you're the best, you speak, behave, and act as the best. This young lady is the epitome of what Hillside New Tech believes in. She works really hard each day at school and in her community to make sure that she first thinks that she is the best. And because she thinks it and know it, she ensures that she produces nothing but the best. As a result, she is ranked #1 in her freshman year, her sophomore year, and her junior year. And she currently has a GPA of 4.8. She is in the National Achievement Scholars Program, president of the National Honor Society, president of the French Club. She is enrolled as a student at UNC Chapel Hill currently. And in addition, she is Chancellor Science Scholar at UNC Chapel Hill. And by the way, she's also been accepted at Brown University, Carolina, Emory, so far, and we're waiting. We have about 20 more minutes and we'll find out about Duke. Now, I think that's some problem to have. So, we are so proud of her. We really are. And we celebrate and we honor her. I introduce to you tonight a young lady that was created for nothing but greatness. The daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Patrick Clark, Miss Jalea Clark. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you for that introduction, Ms. Wright. I just want to thank God, my family, and Hillside New Tech for all their support, and I promise to continue to succeed and do great in all that I do. Thank you.
I would now like to ask Principal David Hawks to come up and introduce Durham School of the Arts March Student of the Month.
It is a pleasure to be here tonight in front of the board to recognize our Duke University Student of the Month, Melissa Carrico. Melissa is a senior at Durham School of the Arts, and she certainly exemplifies everything great about students at our school because she has excelled academically, athletically, and artistically. She's been captain of her tennis team. She is ranks top in our class, and she is an actress who also has even directed her own play at school. So she's very talented, and she also received early admittance to Duke University, so she was accepted early and been able to breathe a little bit easier for a couple of months. And she is just a wonderful young lady. She is very much a self-starter. She's very much somebody who thinks beyond just herself. She thinks of what she can give back to the community, out in the community at Durham as a whole, and at school. She's been very involved in a lot of different things, from the prom, from previous to that, the Chorus Black and White Ball, and also student council and every aspect of school life. So she is just, I would say, the poster child for DSA students, and very much. I've known her since she came in 6th grade, and I've watched her grow, and it's been a real joy to see her grow up into the fine young lady she is. And the proud mother is Caroline back there with the camera, and she, I think, joined you for dinner, and I know we're all very proud of Melissa.
Just thank you to Durham School of the Arts and Mr. Hawks for all of the great opportunities I've been given the past 7 years. Thank you.
We would now like to recognize the winners of the Battle of the Books competitions. I will ask Mary Gray Leonard, Director of Media Services, to join me.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Osteen and members of the board. We are so excited to have these two groups with us tonight. The Middle School Battle of the Books has been one of the longest running academic contests in Durham Public Schools for over 20 years, and all of our middle schools compete. So this year, we had our middle school competition on the 28th of February. The students read from a list of 26 books and answered questions, and it was quite the battle. But Carrington Middle School emerged the winner of our local contest, and today they represented us in Johnston County, and they were first runner-up in our regional contest. They did an outstanding job. So I would like to thank their coaches, Miss Amanda McCall and Miss Marty O'Sullivan, as well as the parents and administration for all the support that they have provided. And I just want to say that every child that participates in Battle of the Books is a winner, because winners are readers, readers are winners. So come on up and let me go ahead.
Thank you so much. You can have a flag. I'll take the trophy. We broke the trophy.
It's going to have a nice spot in the school, isn't it?
Good lucky spring.
We're going to circle back in. We'll circle back in for the next group.
Circle with the flag. Thank you so much.
Okay. The elementary school Battle of the Books didn't start in Durham Public Schools until 2007, and we only had 3 teams at that time. This year, we had 24 schools that participated in the elementary Battle of the Books, and we had to spread it out over 3 days just to get all the teams so that they could compete. So we did have 2 regulation matches, and then we had playoffs. And in a tiebreaker round, Forest View took the title, and this is the 3rd time in a row. They will compete in Selma on April 11th, and hopefully they will come home with the regional title just like they did last year. So we will see. So congratulations to Kathleen Graves and Sandy Johnson and their team and parents.
I would now like to ask Beth Cross, Director of Advanced Academics, to come up and help us recognize the winner of Duke's Regional Spelling Bee and the 2014 Outstanding Teacher of the Gifted.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. First, why don't you stand out here so everyone can see you, Betty? You have met this young lady before. However, when you met her last year, she was the runner-up in Duke's Regional Spelling Bee in 2013. I now present to you Betty Kloss, winner of Duke's Regional Spelling Bee for 2014. She is a 5th grader at Little River Elementary School. It was an exciting bee this year with DPS students not only taking the title, but also the top 5 spots in the bee out of 59 spellers across the region, which includes Orange County and various charter and homeschools. Now she will go on to the 87th Annual National Spelling Bee to compete with the other best spellers from around the country and U.S. territories. Here is her schedule, her itinerary. On Tuesday, May 27th, she will begin the competition with a computer test on spelling and vocabulary. On Wednesday, May 28th, Betty will compete in front of an audience as part of the preliminaries, which will broadcast on ESPN3, write that down, starting at 8 a.m. That evening, semifinalists will be announced and head back to computer testing for a second round of spelling and vocabulary testing. Are you visualizing? Okay, good. On Thursday, May 29th, ESPN2 will broadcast the semifinals from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then on ESPN, okay, we went 3 to 1, I guess, from 8 to 10 p.m. will be the championship final broadcast. So we wish you the best, Betty, and we look forward to seeing you on May 29th from 8 to 10 p.m. Would you like to say anything?
I'd like to say thanks to everybody who helped me with the spelling bee, and that I know that I'm going to do very good in the National Spelling Bee, and that it's great to see you guys coming out here. So thank you.
And she is supported by her parents, Willie Kloss, the photographer over there, Almas Kloss, and her sister, Hannah Kloss, who is actually runner-up to Betty in their school spelling bee. They went 15 rounds. So it's a family affair. I am introducing this young man to you tonight again. Come on down, Jeff Witt, because you met him in January as DPS's 2014 Outstanding Teacher of the Gifted, but he has now become someone else. He is now the 2014 North Carolina Association for Gifted and Talented Teacher of the Year. So, Jeff. Jeff, who is AIG facilitator, BT coordinator, scholastic director, catch coordinator. Okay, we don't want to be here all night. Jeff works tirelessly every day for all students, but he has enhanced Carrington Middle School's AIG program immensely through different programs to enrich or support students, professional development opportunities for teachers, and communication with parents and the community. He is a vital part of our middle school PLC, as that is a strong group of educators sharing experiences, resources, and ideas to communicate or to continue to strengthen AIG at the middle school level in DPS. Jeff Witt.
She told me I had to write a speech this time, and I was kind of like, wow. But I want to take this opportunity to thank our interim superintendent, Mr. Osteen, the Board of Education members, Beth Cross. We have wonderful assistant principals, Ms. Jessica Austin and Mr. Anthony White from Carrington Middle School. It is with great honor that I represent our state as the Gifted Teacher of the Year, but most importantly, representing Durham Public Schools and my home school of Carrington Middle School, which believes in teaching, in our efforts of teaching the kids at the highest level, and encourages our ideas to reach all students who cross our path. We have excellent educators, students, and parents at Carrington Middle School, and it is great to be part of this family. So a special thank you to Miss Emanuel for allowing me to share my passion with our school community and for believing in me when I approach her with the craziest of ideas. And to Beth Cross, who challenges me in this role of AIG facilitator every day to always think outside of the box in reaching our gifted students. As a father of 5 boys, I am blessed to watch my children grow and find their way. But I'm even more encouraged to share with my children that I'm in a profession I choose to be part of and where my heart and my passion lies. Thanks again for this recognition.
Next, we would like to recognize Durham Public Schools Science Olympiad winners. Asking Benji Downing, our Science Pre-K through 12 specialist, and the Durham Regional Science Olympiad Director to please join me.
First off, I'd like to start off by saying thank you to everyone, the board members, Hugh Osteen, our parents. This is a volunteer-run organization, so I have just a quick little blurb about it, and then we'll introduce our winners. North Carolina Science Olympiad is a nonprofit organization with a mission to attract and retain the pool of K-12 students entering science, technology, engineering, and mathematics or STEM degrees and careers in North Carolina. Every year, North Carolina Science Olympiad hosts tournaments on university, community college, and public school campuses across the state. These tournaments are rigorous, academic, interscholastic competitions that consist of a series of different hands-on, interactive, challenging, and inquiry-based events that are well-balanced between the various disciplines of biology, earth science, environmental science, chemistry, physics, engineering, and technology. On March 8th and March 15th, more than 400 students and coaches participated at Duke University, and these are some of the winners who excelled during those competitions. This year's teams, I'd first like to recognize Sam Brown and Lowe's Grove.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Samuel Brown. I'm a 6th grade science teacher at Lowe's Grove Middle School of Technology. I have 2 young students with me that I would like to recognize. The first one, this is Peyton Sue. And our second young gentleman is Kyland Tate. Go ahead and shake it one second. Thank you.
From Southern School of Energy and Sustainability, we have Patrick Vargas. His coach couldn't make it tonight, but we want to recognize Patrick for his recognition and his accomplishments. From Easley, I'd like to recognize Julia Denton as their coach, and she'll introduce her team.
We have 5 of our varsity students who have participated for 3 years. We have Cameron Dark, James Stover, Elliot Umbarger, Riley Barnes, and Spencer Wiley.
From Forest View, I'd like to recognize Vicki Isley and Sandy Johnston as their coaches, and they'll call out their team members.
Good evening. It's my honor to present to you from Forest View, Chris Collins, Graham Hairston, and Matthew Congista.
From Jordan High School, I'd like to call Jeff and Davita Lacoste, who are their coaches, to introduce their team.
Good evening. These are high schoolers, and I believe at this stage in the game, they can come up and introduce themselves. Come on, Lambo. They ran the team. I was merely just a fly on the wall, and this is the one who won it pretty much for everybody by being there and doing everything that the team needed to be successful. So I'm gonna let him.
Hi, I'm Lamboda Demodarin. I have Will Fowler, Cole Wrong, and Gamal Igalab, and we'll be proud to represent DPS at the state competition at NC State. Yeah.
From DSA, we have Kateri Hoekstra, who will introduce her team.
Hi, I'm Kateri Hoekstra. I am actually a parent volunteer. The following 3 students represent 18 on our varsity team that made #1, and they will also represent Durham Public Schools and Durham School of the Arts at state. Lucas Mock, Jackson Astrakis, and Izzy Salazar.
From Carrington Middle, I'd like to recognize Kim Strickland as our coach.
I am privileged tonight to introduce 5 of my varsity team. I am a dual coach with Jackie Gibbs, who could not be here, so we were very proud of our team this year. We first have Charity McCotter, Tia Green, this way. Shake their hands. There you go. John Perez, Alex Tayeb, Will McClintock.
And from Durham School of the Arts High School, I'd like to recognize Whit Baker.
Yeah, so we got second place, and I guess we're going to states too. I brought 2 of the varsity members, Cody Lee and Justin Ching.
And our last team to recognize for Science Olympiad is Rogers Her, and we have Kelly Adams here to introduce her team.
Hello, I'm a parent volunteer coach with Rogers Her Middle School, and I'm standing in for Lynn Chestnut, who is our wonderful 6th grade science teacher who's the lead coach but couldn't be here tonight. I'd like to introduce 3 representatives from our team. First, Adam Nicewarner, Ahmad Morrow, and Brendan Adams.
So it's now time in our program for us to celebrate our community partners who provide support to our students and for our school improvement efforts. And tonight we have a little bit of an unusual one, unusual in a very good way. We would like to welcome up 2 business owners, Durham business owners. We only have one with us tonight, Kyle Newman. His friend Eric Neal could not be here. Kyle is with Craig Motor Company. Eric is with Neal's Taekwondo and Fitness. Both of these gentlemen became lunch angels for us at Pearsontown Elementary School, where they came in and paid the past due lunch accounts for a number of students. So we wanted to say thank you to them. Will you take his as well?
Thank you all, and we look forward to visiting some more schools in the next couple of weeks.
That concludes our celebration. That's the best part of the night. Yep. Wow, we had a lot to celebrate tonight, didn't we? Durham Public Schools spells, Durham Public Schools reads, Durham Public Schools computes and does science, and now Mr. Osteen is going to tell us what else Durham Public Schools does.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. That's hard to compete with.
but I'm going to add a little more joy to it if I can, just on a few positive notes for Durham Public Schools. Last night we celebrated 22 teachers who have either received National Board certification for the first time or achieved renewal. DPS is strongly represented by teachers who go the extra mile and reach for the highest standards of their profession. We have over 300 National Board certified teachers. That's amazing. On a lighter note, if you would, cross your fingers or knock on some wood. Hopefully we are done with snow days. We never know. Spring is a little slow coming this year. But I do want to say a big thank you to our Transportation Department and to our Public Information Office. They all worked together to get the word out, to make sure we were safe, and we did a good job this year. We're very proud of them, very thankful. A good news on some financial front. A state educational innovation grant has been awarded to Durham Public Schools. We've been awarded a 4-year, $800,000 grant by the state. This will significantly accelerate our ability to build the first full education to career pathway that will serve as a prototype for successive pathways. This will be in our CTE area, so that's a great news for us. Thank you to Jim Key and to Rick Sheldoff for their leadership in that area. Governor School is an exciting issue for many young folks. We have 30 students selected to go to Governor School this year. That's our most ever, I believe, and more will be shared about the upcoming events and timing for them as well. And then lastly, proctoring and volunteering. Just a word for our community. We still need proctors. We frequently do as the tests and exams approach. In fact, volunteering of any kind is welcome in Durham. Durham, this is your school system. We welcome you here anytime to volunteer and participate. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Osteen. And Minnie Fort Brown would like to make a comment or two.
Good afternoon, good evening, family, and our audience members here who are in the boardroom with us. You see us wearing these red wristbands. They say, "Stand up for public schools." These wristbands are sponsored by the National School Boards Association. If you watch the Academy Awards, if you watch the Oscars, you saw Steve McQueen when he accepted the Oscar for the best film, 12 Years a Slave. He had this red wristband on. He is an advocate for public education. Magic Johnson will be in New Orleans. He will also be sporting a red wristband, standing up for public education. If you have children that are on the Khan Academy, Sal Khan will also be wearing a red wristband, standing up for public education. At this point, we know that we are going to have to be the advocates for our children. We're going to have to be the advocates for excellence and equity in public education. And so we're going to have to be the ones that stand up for public education. We have wristbands. I want to be able to give anybody that wants one. I can order them when I go to New Orleans to make sure that you have them. We are creating stronger advocacy. We're going to be over in Raleigh, beating down the doors, doing the things that we need to do. We're going to be in Washington, D.C. We're going to be standing up for our children. We have an entire campaign. So I want you to be on the lookout for it. I want you to speak positively about public education, speak positively and supportive of our teachers, our administrators, and of our children who are out there competing day to day to be the best that they can be. So stand up for public education. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you, Minnie. And when Minnie was talking about going to New Orleans, it wasn't just to laissez le bon temps rouler. It was because the National School Boards Association will be meeting there later this month, and several of our board members will be attending that.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
If I may, at this time, express our condolences to the Willis family. Mr. Robert Willis, who's a co-owner of Integrity, who's a partner in our facilities, our maintenance with Integrity, and the owner as well as Mr. Mike Spears. We like to offer our condolences. Brother Robert Willis suddenly passed away over the weekend, and our hearts and prayers are with the Willis family.
Thank you, Pastor Davis. All right, board members, that brings us to agenda review and approval. Is there a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this agenda. Those in favor say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Next up is general public comment. Hi. Thank you. And we have two citizens that would like to speak to us tonight, and the first is Andrea Underwood.
Good evening, board, community members. I'm Andrea Underwood, the president of Durham Association of Educators, and I have to say I do not have my wristband, but you know I'm here to stand up for public education. Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of the executive board and the membership of Durham Association of Educators, we want to say to our board, thank you. Your commitment to advancing the cause of public education is to be applauded. You seized the moment of opportunity and you stood in support of collaborative school communities. Your active involvement was critical in influencing over 33 boards of education that have now passed resolutions against 25% contracts. And on behalf of the membership, I'd like to present to board a thank you certificate.
Oh, that's nice.
And it reads, thank you, Durham Association of Educators. Thanks, board member, for supporting NCAE's resolution against 25% contracts and joining the career status lawsuit, date March 27, signed by myself and our Vice President, LaToya McCrimmon. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Underwood, and thank you for all your work and standing up that you do. They're beautiful thank you certificates. Our next speaker is Adrienne Smith.
Hello. I'm coming here for a different reason. I'm not sure if this is the right meeting for this or not, but I'm actually coming here for concerns. I'm a mother of 9 children, of which all of my kids are 10 and under, so 5th grade on down. And I'm more concerned of the zoning issue. My kids has been bouncing around from one school to the next school to the next school because of where I own my home at. They can't go to the school of my choice. And the school that they're zoned to, I'm not satisfied with, happy with at all. My kids went there for like a week or so. They've been picked on, they've been bullied, they cried. The school they at now, they come home saying, I hate my school, I hate my school, I hate my school. They were at a school at one time where they were happy. But every time I had a new child to go into school, each child had to be transferred into because it wasn't our zone. They stopped transferring in my children. So I had 3 kids in one school and the rest of the kids couldn't come in. So it became a problem having kids at this school and kids at another school. So that's my concern. I done did an appeal. I done did another transfer request, denied. And I mean, I'm going to be in Durham Public Schools for a long time with the amount of children I have, and I want to be able to get them into a school that I feel comfortable in they as well. So that's why I'm here tonight. I never thought I would be able to come to one of these meetings, but I'm so glad that I came because I see how it's so important for parents to be involved in the school choice of what you believe that your children should be going to. So I'm an advocate for my 9 children, and until I feel comfortable with what school they go to, I will be speaking on their behalf. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, and it's always an appropriate venue to hear things like that, to hear comments like that. And if you want to email any board members, we can help connect you to an appropriate administrator to help address your concerns. All right, board members, that brings us down now to approval of the Board of Education meeting minutes. And we have we have these minutes presented for our approval tonight. February 27th, 2014, regular meeting, open and closed sessions. March 4th, 2014, emergency meeting, open session. March 5th, 2014, a special meeting, open and closed session. March 10th, 2014, special meeting, open session. March 10th, 2014, public input session. And March 20th, 2014, special meeting, open session. Well, board members.
Move approval of the minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve.
Yeah, I think a date is wrong,
All right.
if I'm reading right. Which one? Isn't here. Is that one of them? May the 20th? So with that correction.
You're moving so fast, typing so fast. You want it to be May, don't you, Jill?
All right. Well, with that one minor correction to that vast set of minutes, are we ready for the vote?
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Before liaison? The corrections that I submitted, Julian, will they be in the record? Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Are we ready for the vote? Those in favor of approving these minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, with the corrections noted, of course. Those opposed? The passing of the approval of these minutes, it passes. All right, let's see. Next is the consent agenda. We have two items on our consent agenda. Lowe's Grove Middle School bids for track improvements and Hope Valley Elementary School bids for asphalt paving, ADA, and security upgrades.
Move the approval of both items on consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this consent agenda. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, it is unanimous. That brings us to reports of the committees. And first we're going to have a report from Administrative Services Committee, and Ms. Byer will at least get us started on that.
Thank you. Well, we had a fun meeting, as we always do, but we wanted to share this innovative new program in Durham that will help raise a little bit of funds for our schools by also doing good in the community. So this is a cooking oil fundraising agreement that we have tonight. And Mr. Denton's going to share that with us.
He'll share with us. Good evening, board members. Mr. Osteen, members of the community. May I also say that I stand for public education. And I also stand for cooking oil or recycling of such. It should be noted that we do not use cooking oil in Durham Public Schools, so we'll not be using the oil from our schools to contribute to this program. But the program is with Green Circle. It's called Biodiesel for Schools. And the program is basically intended to recycle cooking oil from local restaurants. And so the agreement, which is currently in place at two other school districts in North Carolina, Pitt County Schools and Johnston County Schools, is basically intended to collect and process cooking oil into biodiesel. And the agreement with Green Circle is to promote the Biodiesel for Schools program that encourages local restaurants to donate their used cooking oil for the purpose of making the biodiesel. And of course, they would allow, DPS would allow Green Circle to use our logo and our school names on promotional materials for the program. In exchange, Green Circle will pay us 25 cents per gallon from the sale of used cooking oil. And of course, we have to make up some expenses for them. $7,500 doesn't come out of our pockets. It comes from the proceeds of the collection of the oil and the subsequent sale of the oil. And so there's no cost for Durham Public Schools in this. There is a 3-year agreement, but fortunately there is a termination clause, so if something doesn't work well, Durham Public Schools can end that agreement at any time. School groups may decide to take this on as a project. It does fit with our current alignment with our strategic plan. It's a great opportunity for Durham Public Schools to demonstrate our commitment to our environmentally sound business practices. So administration submits this item for discussion and subsequent approval to our board.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Denton. I liked how you summarized that. Board members, would you all like to make any comments? Ms. Boardley? I'm looking your way.
Well, I'm really excited about this, as people have heard. I just think it's an excellent opportunity to raise some needed funds for Durham Public Schools while
participating in an environmentally responsible project. It has the potential to educate our students, our communities, ourselves. I just think it's great all the way around. And if it isn't, then as you say, Mr. Denton, we can take another direction. But I think this has an excellent chance of being successful, and I'm very excited to support it.
All right, very good. It's also nice that we have an innovative administration that's willing to consider new ideas like this. Everyone else should be glad also because it will help unclog our drains. No, people won't be pouring, restaurants won't be pouring oil down the drain.
So is there schools identifying or biodiesel company identifying the businesses?
The biodiesel company will primarily go out and do that, but schools can take it on as a project if they want to. Clubs or other organizations inside the schools could take it on as a project they wanted to, and the company will provide training on materials on how to do that.
I was just kind of asking because I know our congregation, we collect, but just make sure that you don't put them in steel cans because people will come and steal the cans and pour out the grease.
Yes, sir.
That's what happened to us.
Yes, sir.
So, but congregation would probably be interested.
Absolutely. We'd love to have community support for as much as possible throughout Durham. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as it ain't steel.
Is there any more discussion, board members?
They stole.
Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the cooking oil fundraising agreement.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the cooking oil fundraising agreement. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? It is unanimous. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Denton.
members.
Next, we'll hear from Support Services Committee and Ms. Parker.
As Ms. Cross is coming forward to present this item, I would just like to state what it is that we are bringing forth, and she's going to present the AIG plan for 2013-2016.
Good evening, board members, superintendent. I'm here, as she said. Now, I'm for public education, but I have a bare wrist. So I'm wondering, can you help me with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now this will go a lot faster. I am here to propose a change in our AIG plan for 2013-16 to better meet the needs of our students. As you know, the AIG plan is aligned with the North Carolina AIG program standards, of which student identification is the first standard. As part of our identification procedures, currently Durham Public Schools has historically administered the Cognitive Abilities Test, COGAT, to all 3rd and 6th graders. The inclusion of all students benefits us so that we get a clear picture and profile of each student's strengths and weaknesses in regards to their critical thinking, how they think and how they reason, which is different than an achievement test like the EOG. As of 2014-15, the Read to Achieve initiative has placed a lot more significant pressure and challenges to our 3rd grade teachers. Since there are multiple assessments in the 3rd grade, our proposal is to move the COGAT administration that was once in 3rd grade to 2nd grade. This has the support of principals, beginning with the Principals Advisory Council, as well as AIG facilitators K-5. We have talked with other school districts and found that Charlotte-Mecklenburg has actually been administering the test to 2nd graders for 10 years. They actually gave it at the beginning of the year with no issues reported. The benefits are that it's going to be more equitable. I tend to think that, number one, the reason that we screen all students is partly for AIG identification, but also to get a read on all of our students. And as they get older, students tend to hide their abilities sometimes. Also, it's going to help us meet the students' needs a bit better. They're probably more ready for this at the end of 2nd grade than the very beginning of 3rd grade after a long rest, summer vacation, being out of school. And then the time that teachers take getting to know their students and understanding what their strengths and weaknesses are will actually, they'll be able to do right at the beginning of 3rd grade with the data that we'll be able to give them. The specific testing information, as you can see, there are 3 different subtests. There's a verbal, nonverbal, and quantitative. This slide shows you the difference between the number of questions in 3rd grade and 2nd grade. It's going to be a little bit different. There are differences also. 3rd graders have a testing booklet and they have an answer document, and sometimes that's hard for kids to go from one book to the answer document. This will actually be all in one booklet. They'll read the questions and put their answers all in one booklet, which is going to be great. Our testing window will be April 28th through May 2nd, and this has a collaboration efforts between our testing coordinators and our AIG facilitators. And this is actually an item up for action tonight. But we just wanted to make sure that our parents knew once the board makes a decision, we will communicate with all of our parents of 2nd graders to ensure they know what this is about, even though it will happen at the end of April. And our teachers have some sample items that they can help work on with the students. So
Beth, this will begin this year.
Yes, ma'am.
When we approve, if and when we approve this.
Yes.
Madam Chair, inasmuch as this isn't action item, I move that we approve this revision of the AIG.
Second.
All right, it's been moved
Plan.
and seconded that we approve the revision that Ms. Cross has presented to us. Is there any discussion?
I have a question for Ms. Cross that I asked a committee, but I think if there are any parents who are concerned about testing, I was reassured by your answer to this question, Beth, which was about how long you thought the testing would take for the children and the amount of time they would spend each day doing it.
right, it's going to take over 3 days, about 30 minutes each day, which in addition to maybe giving out the pet test booklets, taking them back up, might be an hour. We do that instead of 3 hours in one day because that would wear any of us out, right? So over 3 days, just a little bit of time out of each of the days. So teachers can plan for that and be consistent with that over the 3 days. It's not an all-day test.
This is a sweep screen to include more children.
Exactly.
But if a child has already been identified, I'm sure your letter will reassure folks that their child will continue to be.
Absolutely. We're not going to de-gift students. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
The testing time is about the same amount of time as Sesame Street or Dora the Explorer.
That's correct. And just as much fun.
We do like it when reports from our Department of Advanced Academics come forward because it just highlights how this is one of our strengths in Durham Public Schools, the services that we provide gifted children. And we screen now at the end of 2nd grade, and we screen again when, Beth? 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And that means everyone gets tested. Everyone has an opportunity to demonstrate whether they need these services or not. Right. So always want to take every chance we can to highlight our AIG program. And now we also have the AIG Teacher of the Year.
That's right.
As well.
Thank you for your support.
It's very, very strong part of our school district.
And since we're moving into budget time, I think this is also a great time to remind our community that the state allocates dollars to support our AIG program, but because we have so many children who qualify, and because we're eager to make sure that children's needs are being met, we are doing something like this, so we support additional AIG funding through our local funds. And so that is something that is important to recognize that that's a priority for Durham Public Schools.
Thank you.
Excellent point. All right, are we ready for the vote? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the academically and or intellectually gifted plan 2013 through 16 revision regarding student identification. Those in favor say aye. 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 Those opposed? It's unanimous. Ms. Cross, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the bracelet.
Is brought to us for information, and see that Dr. Pittman and Dr. Mozingo are prepared to begin the presenting this information.
All right. Good evening, board members and Mr. Osteen. I hope you're doing well this afternoon. I have my public education right on, okay? Dr. Pittman and I are delighted to have this opportunity to announce to you and to the public the first literacy summit that is being sponsored by the Superintendent's Closing the Achievement Gap Task Force. And we're presenting jointly mainly because we serve as staff representatives to the Superintendent's Task Force. The task force advises the superintendent and the Board of Education on efforts to close the achievement gap, as well as efforts to mobilize the larger community in various educational outcomes. After the task force learned about the Read to Achieve legislation, they immediately said, here's an area where we could provide support, and that is to sponsor and host a literacy summit that would improve the achievement of our youngest students. And at this time, Dr. Pittman is going to share with you all the details about what is being planned, what will occur on May the 3rd at Brogdon High School.
You want to switch?
We'll switch.
So here's an opportunity for the public to support public education. The Closing the Achievement Gap Task Force has said, we want to help, we want to support literacy, and particularly literacy amongst our earliest readers. So as you are hearing this, if you know of community partners who love to work with students around literacy after hours or on weekends or summer, this opportunity is for you. We are going to launch this. Closing the Achievement Gap wants to sponsor a launching event at Brogdon Middle School. Because of the auditorium and the size of the facility, we are seeking and coveting hundreds of volunteers with the goal of supporting the work we're doing with literacy in volunteer efforts around our community. One of the things the Closing the Achievement Gap talks about is we're doing a lot with instruction and literacy strategies in classrooms, and boy, wouldn't it be great if our community understood just some basic key strategies around literacy and how to connect and tether our work from school into the after hours. So, on Saturday, May 3rd, starting at 8:30, we will feed you a delicious breakfast. At 9 o'clock, we will start our event with a call to action, a keynote, and a quick overview of what is Read to Achieve legislation and what is it involving and how is it presenting challenges for our students. And then we will begin launching some overviews of simple, easy strategies around literacy, of ways parents and family and community groups can support instruction. Some of the topics are going to talk about how do I as a volunteer pick just the right book for students? How do I select just right texts? And how do I help students know what book to read so they're reading literature they can master but also stretch them a little bit? How do we, when we have a new book, how do we manage new vocabulary? How do I understand what are the key words I need to focus on? How do I connect reading and writing? If I read something and then I'm able to write about it, I am understanding it and I'm comprehending. There's a think and thought process seminar on how to connect model good reading strategies and practice and developing good reading habits. And then we're going to have a special breakout for our English language learners on what are some of the special challenges those young readers face and how can we as tutors really rally and support those young readers with how we help them learn strategies. So we'll have our opening keynote, and then we'll have 5 breakout selections, 2 seminars of which community members can participate. We will come back, we will feed you lunch, it will be delicious, and then we will have a closing ceremony and a call to action on how you can be engaged not only through the Read to Achieve summer programs, but how can we support our schools throughout all of next year and continue with this good work around helping as a community engage our students in literacy mastery. So that is the Literacy Summit launch and our work around early literacy in the community of Durham. So, anything you'd like to add?
Just join us on May 3rd at Brogdon Middle School. How about that? We'll respond to any questions you might have now.
Terrific, and I think you all sent us today, what do you call it?
Partners.
Yes, the partners list, but also a logo that was really
logo's been developed
really
by
cool.
Pice. That's correct.
Looked very
So let's
nice.
do an advertisement. On our website, we have a new logo for the Literacy Summit. If you want to come for food purposes and planning and organizing, you can sign up and register, no cost. But that'll help us with our planning. But also, if you know of community partners, if there is a link on there for our public affairs office, public information, we are building and growing that partner list. So we thank the board for giving us this opportunity to get the word out, and thank you for your strong partnership around literacy.
Comments, questions, board members?
Really want the public to know that partner means, like we've got churches, the faith community is also mentioned, so please, if your church is doing an after-school program, a Saturday academy, please come and bring your church members, those who are volunteering to the summit on May 3rd. I'm also making a special plea to North Carolina Central University retirees. I didn't see them on the list, so I'd like to see them also come. We've got a lot of people in that education segment. They can certainly come and volunteer. So I'm putting a call out to North Carolina Central. If you look on the website, you'll see that Duke retirees are there. So Eagles, let's step up.
And we wanted to also thank the co-chairs, Donald Rewalt and Martinette Horner. They have worked tirelessly on this project. And Andrea is here earlier tonight. She's Andrea Underwood. She also serves on the task force.
We do indeed appreciate all the efforts. Do we have a sort of targeted number that we're hoping will attend?
The auditorium holds as 900. So we want to fill every seat, and that is our goal.
Do we have a budget for it?
Well, we'll have to look to Mr. Yes, we have partners and business support, and we're getting the support seeking more. So we're getting the support that we need for this to occur. Yes.
Is it probably going to come from local funds, though, whatever we don't recoup from partners?
Will come from local funds. We're working on engaging our business partners to support us on a lot of this effort, but with the food, we'll need some support. Prizes we're getting donated.
Good. That sounds good. I mean, I raise that only because, we didn't spend this money last year, right? And we're not having any new spending on new initiatives unless we cut something else or take it from fund balance. Those are our choices. So it sounds like we're going to be raising this money from a good source. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful initiative. We're really pleased about it.
Thank you.
It looks like there's one more.
Yes, and this next item, Ms. O'Neill Williams, you want to move on up, so we'll be prepared. This is an action item, so we're going to.
For the winter that keeps on giving, we are here to offer some inclement weather makeups for this year. And Ms. O'Neill Williams, who leads and spearheads our calendar committee for Durham Public Schools, is going to shepherd us through the proposed makeup days that are before you.
Now, this is contingent upon our not having any more snow.
Well, we have planned for that in this.
Good evening, school board members and superintendent. The winter of 2014 has obviously presented us with extreme challenges, and with the disruption to instructional days and the potential for more inclement weather, we're committed to preventing additional loss of days and protecting instructional time if at all possible. Before you is the comprehensive inclement weather makeup day recommendation chart that was provided to you. It includes our currently approved makeup days, proposed recommendations, a payroll explanation for each recommendation, work options for 10-month employees, and just in case winter chooses to stay a little longer, we have 4 additional makeup days beyond the 7 we have already incurred. Currently, our inclement weather makeup plan is aligned with spring break. And upon hearing from our community, they asked that we help to keep spring break intact. So I'd like to draw your attention to the inclement weather chart that was provided to you to walk you through our most recent makeup days. March 7th for traditional, thank you. March 7th and March 18th were originally scheduled for our approved calendar to be made up on April 14th and April 15th. Administration recommends that we make up this day on June 11th and March 18th on June 12th. These were teacher work days and will extend the school year by 2 days. The traditional school year ended on June 10th. For year-round, administration recommends that we keep the currently approved calendar, and their inclement plan included them making up days on March 31st and April 1st, still maintaining their spring break. Moving on. Yeah, we can go. We've already built in additional snow days if we were to see more inclement weather. Snow days 7, 8, 9, and 10 for our traditional calendar would be made up on April 14th, April 15th, April 16th, and April 17th. That's snow day 8, 9, 10, and 11. And for year-round, they would follow the already approved calendar that has inclement weather makeup days the first week of the intersession. Okay, with the exception of June.
I'm sorry, April.
No.
This one is not approved.
Okay, April, with the exception of April 7th. Thank you.
And how would we make up snow day 10 if we're not using April 7th?
That's the proposed recommendation.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding something here. Just say it again, ma'am.
Okay, so if we were to have a snow day 10, because it was not already built in the approved calendar, we would use April 7th of intercession.
Okay, we would. So I don't.
That's the proposed recommendation.
I'm sorry, you were saying we had already approved everything except the 7th.
Right. The year-round calendar, we're going to stick with their approved calendar makeup plan.
Okay, I understand that.
And we were adding day 10, which was April 7th.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's really the only change to the year-round
For
calendar.
year-round,
is
yes.
Just adding.
Adding a day. Thank you for clarifying.
But on the traditional calendar, we're talking about adding 4 days.
And the 4 days would be using the approved calendar makeup plan of spring break, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th for additional snow makeup days.
And we're switching 2 from spring break to the end of the year.
Yes.
Why did we not consider just making them all the end of the year? I know there's probably a really good reason.
We didn't have enough time. State calendar law states that you have to end for the Friday closest to June 11th.
Gotcha. Right. So once again, we're sort of constrained by state law.
Yes.
Yeah, we're hemmed in. Right.
Okay. And I want to note that the extension of the calendar in order to include these makeup days at the end of the year will not impact graduation.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the revised calendar for the inclement weather.
For traditional and year-round?
For traditional and year-round, yes.
Second.
I have a comment.
All right. Is there a comment,
Yeah.
question?
I guess the only thing that I just wonder why. Well, here's where I'm not comfortable. I'm fine going ahead and addressing the 7th, March 7th and 18th, the 2 days that we've already missed, and suggesting that they be on the 11th and 12th. But I'm not really comfortable approving the use of spring break for the traditional calendar at this time. I think you're being prudent, and I appreciate that, predicting additional foul weather between now and April 14th. But I wouldn't, even if we did have snow days, I would not vote to take away spring break at this late time. I would want us to look at other options like we've done, using existing hours, or even adding days, minutes to the day. I wouldn't at this late hour want to try and suggest that if we have a snow day, if we vote on this tonight, then we are giving up April 14th for an 8th day of snow, or flooding or hurricane or tornado or whatever else Mother Nature wants to throw at us.
Yeah.
So I prefer not to do that tonight.
What if a staff, I appreciate that thought, Nancy. What if a staff person had plans they couldn't alter, and so they just couldn't be here on the 14th? How would we
Principals would
handle
have
that?
to work with them.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Board, our calendar committees voted for spring break to be their inclement weather makeup days. And it has been through ongoing feedback and just the unusual nature of this year that has caused administration, and with the support of the board, saying go back and revisit whether we could avoid spring break. When we look at traditional calendar, we have come to the end of the journey of how to support and protect spring break. Hopefully we will not need 4 more days. But if we do, the options are the 3 work days at the end of the year, 2 of which we've already said we're going to use. We've got to protect 1 day for teachers to do grades, report cards, close out school. Then the only other options become the days over spring break. So the calendar law is such, it's so compact, the requirements of law are such that we have to provide annual leave days, so many teacher work days. We're really we don't have any more options for traditional schools. So to say we could go to forgive, but we are also looking at equity across all calendars. And the other schools, the small specialty high schools, have already used a day of spring break. Intercession, year-rounds are in a good peculiar place because they have the luxury of intersession days that aren't earmarked for instruction or teacher work days. So they're taken care of. So you are at a value crossroad for our traditional schools. The other piece of this is at what cost instruction. Our teachers have lost instructional days, instructional times, instructional rhythm, momentum. That really factored into the decision of the proposal that we brought tonight about should we go after more forgiving days or should we manage what we have with the resources we do have. And if we're at a real crossroad with 4 more days and need 5, the forgiveness conversation will re-enter. But we're trying to balance it all. So that's where the logic filtered into the proposal.
And I appreciate that. I'm just thinking that I'm in agreement with you, Nancy, that if I'm a traditional teacher, I need my break as well. If we have more days, I think this is when we need to go to the legislature and tell them that we don't control the weather. And so therefore they have to do something about the calendar. See, they've made the calendar starting based on their vacation, based on the tourism. And what we're saying is we're looking at educational institutions and we're looking at saving our teachers and saving our kids as well. So I think this is what we need to present this to the legislature to ask for forgiveness, ask for a waiver, and ask that we're able to extend the calendar. They made it without any consideration for teachers. They made it based on their own selfish intent. So I think we can go to them and ask for forgiveness. So I'm in agreement with you. I want to protect spring break for our teachers.
My recollection
and
from
kids.
The committee meeting was that I remember I said that henceforth I would prefer we not look at spring break for makeup days, period. When we really think about it, the reason you have spring break, is you need spring break. You're exhausted, and the kids are, and you need that last week before you hit the end of the school year to prepare for the exams, the EOG testing, et cetera. So I don't want us to use days from spring break in the future either. And I guess I thought it was Lee that had said you knew of a school system where they were adding like 7 minutes to each day.
I know Nash Rocky Mount's adding
Is
time.
that, can you guys talk about that? Is that something you've ever looked at? Mm-hmm.
At this point in the year,
Of course, you can always change your policy, right, attorney?
Well, you got a time or a day's requirement you got to meet.
I'm talking about our policy by Saturday.
Yeah, you can go to school on Saturday.
Or Sunday.
Just have to waive your policy.
Is that law? That's state law?
I knew that. I'll just.
You can do.
Y'all need a motion? Or what y'all?
We have a motion.
Make sure there's 2 other calendars.
So y'all can help me think about this because I want to support teachers however I can, but I'm thinking if we have another bad weather day, and I know that a bad weather day is not a vacation day, but if we have another bad weather day between now and the 14th, I think teachers who weren't planning to be away for spring break are going to just have to say that's if we do this, which I think I support, would just have to say, okay, this is one of my days of spring break. If a teacher does have plans to be away, then I think they go away. I mean, if you have a plane ticket to go somewhere, I'd get on that plane, and we have to get subs, and what happens?
But even if you don't, you just stay home.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. If you're staying home, I would count a day staying home on April 11th or April 10th the same as staying home on April 14th.
And so we've talked about teachers, but we also talked about that we haven't talked about families. So families have plans for spring break. And so if we approve this tonight, then we're putting families in limbo with their spring break plans. And it is too late to change spring break plans. And so you'll have kids who are going to be gone, and so they're going to miss instructional time anyways, because who at this late hour, we're talking about roughly 3 weeks from now, if we were to have another inclement weather day. All I want to do tonight is not, I want to pass the first two, put them on the end of the day, okay, under the school year, but I don't want us to take action on approving the possibility of snow days 8 through 11. If we get a snow day, I would prefer we call an emergency meeting or tack it on to the front end of one of our committee meetings and take action then. And then the action might be looking at adding minutes, waiving it. I don't know if we have any PLC days that we could make up enough hours. We don't. So I don't want to put people in limbo. I want them to know that for now, go ahead and plan on spring break and don't worry that your kids are going to miss instruction.
And we understand that and appreciate that.
We have 2 more calendar things to look at. There's a second page with 2 more calendars on there.
Could I change the motion? I made the motion because we were discussing it without having a motion on the floor. So if it is possible to add those special schools in this motion also, is that possible?
I'd sort of like to just hold with that motion, I think, because it might just get more confusing for me.
I want to say something about a statement which was made about something about working with the principals and, if you need to be away. This would not work throughout the system, whereas one person might be understanding, another one might not. And I'm speaking from experience.
I do think if we do what you suggested, Nancy, about just approving the 2 snow days that we've already had, that we know we must make up, that would actually be leaving families in greater limbo.
I don't understand. Our options are going to be the same if we come back in an emergency situation. I mean, I think it would be nicer to families to go ahead and put them on notice that, like, if it's ices again, go ahead and act like that day is spring break, because we're going to have to take that day as spring break. I'm not saying this because I like it, but I just don't see what our other options are. I don't think adding time on the day is even a possibility at this point in the year to make up an entire school day.
Well, there are systems
I
that are doing
repeat,
that.
we can also go and change our policy and notify parents ahead of time that we may have to do Saturday school. It's not that many choices.
Not many Saturdays between now and spring break either. Can we identify them just so we know? 2? Okay.
I will not vote to do that, just so you know.
I want to make sure we're clear on how many there were.
All right. Is your motion still in effect?
It is.
Oh, okay.
We could explore the minutes, and we also could explore forgiveness of the 2 days if we were to have an additional inclement weather days.
Right. And so does that help?
Well, so help me think about that if we forgive the days, what that feels like to me is we're saying we want all of our children to lose that instructional time, and that I would rather have the people who can come to school on April 14th, for example, to come than to have nobody.
I don't think we're even talking about forgiveness right this minute. I heard you say if we would only do the 2 days tonight, you guys might go back and look at that if we had to. Was I hearing that right? I mean, I don't think we're...
Yes, we're willing to take whatever action from this point if we were to agree to the 2 days that we know we have to make decisions on this evening, and we could take that back to our committee as well as our administration, and we could explore the options of extending the day or forgiveness.
So you all have you all have a committee that's worked on this, right? Could you talk to us a little bit about that? I mean, who's weighed in on this, I guess is what I'm...
We've definitely talked to all area superintendents, and they have each been able to reach out to a large sample size or a great sample size of principals, and also the superintendent's principal advisory council has weighed in on this.
Have we weighed in? Are there parents on this committee?
We have parents on our calendar committee.
Calendar committee.
That approved spring break as the makeup days for snow originally.
Have we had teachers on this committee?
They were on the original. I don't know about this one.
Right. The inclement weather proposal has been done internally with the senior leadership. We did vet it with our principals because we wanted to know their feelings about how did their faculties feel about spring break? Would you rather tack on the days at the end of the year? What you're seeing before you came out of consensus through SPAC. If you'll notice on the two specialty, or the three specialty high schools, but on the second page, those schools have had the luxury of a little more time, and they have vetted those with their faculty. But you'll notice that their proposals are all at the end of the year, and they had 4 or 5 or 6 work days from which they could, facilitate that adding on. They had a little more wiggle room.
Because maybe only the teachers that are talking to me are from traditional schools that are saying, thank you so much for protecting spring break. Thank you so much for protecting spring break. I mean, I'm hearing it over and over again. So I want to honor that. We said we would. And if there are any other options we have, I'd like for us to investigate those options so that we can honor what we said. They've had a hard year. And it's not going to get any better. So whatever we can do for a little respite, I think we should do that.
May I ask the Ms. Omega and the person that's second, Ms. Parker, if you rescind your motion, then because your motion is apparently not going to work, so we need to come up with a new motion.
Or we could just vote, but
as I stated, I have no problem with, is it proper to rescind the motion, or do we have to vote it down?
Well, it's been discussed, so the best thing to do probably is to have somebody make a substitute motion, and if that gets a second, you'd vote on that first, and if it moots the motion, then we're done with it.
Pastor, you prepared to do that?
Well, I was told we couldn't make substitute motions from the last attorney.
I would make a substitute motion just to say that we approve, on the traditional calendar, we approve the 2 days that are needed at this time.
Second.
And then consider.
Can I put out a possibility? I think that I just did a little bit of math, and I think maybe adding the time on would be a possibility. How would people feel about going ahead and voting on that? It doesn't make sense to me to not decide this tonight. It doesn't make sense to me to kick the can down the road in hopes that nothing will happen. That's what we did last time. I'd rather go ahead and have a plan and hopefully not use it. But how would people feel about voting tonight to make up the time by extending the day?
How many minutes are we talking about? 30 minutes, an hour?
No, if my
5
math
minutes?
is correct, it's like 15 minutes. Depending on when the day is.
How many days are left?
I looked at 35 school days. If it happened.
The 9 week, we have about 9 weeks left starting next week. We could calculate it. I might feel a little more confident if we were really calculating. And keep in mind, we need to revisit, but we think we have enough banked time. I know for sure for 1 day and probably for 2 plus buffer, but I want to,
I'm really not in favor for giving any more days.
Not
and I know I protected spring break for the 2 days that we already had to approve and forgave some time, but I really never committed to protecting all of spring break should we need to make up more days. And, we all want to make working conditions as positive for teachers and learning conditions as positive for students as possible. So I can understand the desire to figure out a different way than using 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th of April. And I would consider thinking about the minutes. I agree we should vote tonight. I don't want to I think we need closure on this.
Well, it depends. I didn't know exactly how many hours to calculate, and we don't know when the day would come. But I counted 7 weeks, Deb. And I counted 8-hour day, which I know we don't have an 8-hour day.
I can work on it. Quick. And just, I hear you, but it's also the quality of the time that teachers and students are spending together. And teachers are professionals, and they'll buck up and they'll bring their A game regardless of whether they've missed some spring break or not. But children, they will not. And I've already said it. We shouldn't plan to make up days during spring break anyways. We need spring break.
We
So what
approved
do
the
you think-
calendar, though.
and I know-
And the calendar committee put that forward in, in the beginning.
Yep.
And we approved it, and that was the preferred option for families that were on those committees. I know we're altering it, but I'm just saying, why is it so untouchable now when it was so incredibly touchable in the beginning?
Because it's been since like 2000 when we had all the snow that we actually have been in this situation where unfortunately we've had to use spring break. So having been, I know you've probably been on calendar committees before, but you basically say, don't worry, we'll in North Carolina we'll get 3 days. We'll make them up with the utility days. We'll miss that one right during at the end of the winter break. We'll tack one on at the end of the year, and then we'll have to look at spring break, but we'll never get there. So I don't, we probably need to. Spring break is a whole week. We might want to look in the future at just taking the Monday and Tuesday. And not negotiating on those 2 days, making those the first 2 days or something along those lines. But at this late hour, with what you've pointed out, the difficult year, the long winter, I can't say yes to encroaching on spring break.
Okay, but so I thought what we were moving towards, Nancy, was talking about extending minutes. And just to be clear, I'm not. I wish we weren't in this situation. I want to be good to our teachers and our students. But what I'm thinking about is the fact that we know that one of the main levers in closing the achievement gap is time with students. And the last thing our students need is less time in school. Our students need more time with their teachers. And I can't see us, I don't want us to see if we can wiggle around this by getting more forgiven time. I think we have to either do Saturday, which we know some people are opposed to. I don't know how a vote would go. Spring break, which I certainly hear y'all's opposition to that, or time. And it seems like maybe time is the thing we're most comfortable with.
I would say that time is important with the students, but if we were to tack on that time, would that be quality time?
Well, that would be up to our teachers to make it quality time. I mean, that's always a question.
Well, there are 2 things that I want to say. I am not in favor of taking away the spring break. I would not want to leave our teachers in limbo wondering what's going to happen. I think they ought to know. It's very close to time for spring break. And there's no need of tacking on time if the teachers and the students are just going to be there for the sake of being there. I think we need to give that some careful consideration. I'm for public education, but I'm also for teachers.
Why don't we just vote on the 2 days we have to make up? I think I'm back to that. What do y'all think? I usually do talk myself in a circle. And then in the interim, you can be looking at the hours. And
at this time, we feel more confident being able to go back to fully calculate hours and the number of minutes needed to add onto the day before we asked you to take a vote on that. So if at this time we could look at just the 2 days that we know we need to make up.
We have a substitute motion and a second on that.
Okay. Is there any more discussion about that? Are you all ready for the vote? Do we all know what we're voting for?
No, we don't know.
Okay, well, let me see if I can repeat the motion. It's been moved and seconded that we accept the administration's calendar revision recommendation regarding makeup days for March 7th and March 18th. This would shift the makeup day from April 14th and 15th of spring break to June 11th and June 12th. Please, I hope I said that. For traditional calendars.
So that's not the substitute motion.
That's the substitute motion, and it's been seconded.
What was our motion?
We're doing this one too. And year round.
All of this
It doesn't change.
10, 11.
Yeah, 8 through 11.
So this is for the traditional calendar. Are you comfortable with us voting on just that right now? All right. Are we ready for the vote? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-1. Do you want us to vote on year round?
And the other 3.
And the other 3. What?
Early college, middle college.
All right. Do you want to walk us through the special schools?
Yes. City of Medicine has a proposed recommendation of moving March. Well, they've passed their spring break, so makeup days for March 7th and March 18th would be on teacher work days at the end of the year, May 23rd and May 27th, extending their school year by 2 days. Originally, their school year ended on May 22nd. May 23rd is a Friday, and May 27th is a Tuesday after Memorial Day. And then early college and middle college, whose calendars are both aligned with North Carolina Central University, would make up March 7th on May 21st and March 18th on May 22nd. This extends their school year by 2 days, as their original end date was May 20th. With the 2 days that we have on the table, their end date for City of Medicine or early college and middle college would be May 22nd. And that's a Thursday. If I may go through the 4 additional days for both CMA and early college and middle college. If we were to have more inclement weather, we are proposing that we extend the school year using the remaining teacher work days on their calendar, May 28th, May 29th, May 30th, and June 3rd for City of Medicine. And then for early college and middle college, the subsequent teacher work days, May 23rd, May 27th, May 28th, and May 29th.
So whenever we tack days on to the end of the year and they land on teacher work days, we're going to be asking teachers to work extra days. I mean, they'll have to they'll teach those work days, but then they're still going to have to take extra time to do all the work they would have done on the teacher work day. Just wanted to point that out. I mean, it's not like we're protecting teacher working conditions and time really that way either. I know that's what we need to do, but I guess I'm just trying to make the point that this is what happens when we get in these unusual situations thanks to Mother Nature.
But these teachers and students have all had spring break because they're on the university or the community college schedule. So they've all been out for a full week. Theirs has not been interrupted. So therefore, that's why I'm back with that. They've all had theirs, and they'll be out of school 2 weeks before the other children get out of school. So I just want to make sure that our public understands why I'm lobbying for protecting those who are in traditional schools with a full spring break.
And I will say that City of Medicine and early college and middle college both committed to using the first day of their spring break as a part of their inclement weather plan.
As opposed to putting it at the end of the year.
Originally, yes.
Which could mean perhaps they value their work days at the end of the year more than spring break. I don't know. Wouldn't know.
We could just make a decision and wait and see by faith, I guess. You know.
I think we're going that direction. June 3rd for CMA is a Monday?
Yes.
And that, I just wonder, and so would there be any other, that was a utility day? Oh my gosh, snow day 10, student day moves to June 3rd utility day. June 3rd utility day moves to, I just think that it's just hard to, they're not going to come back on Monday.
Right. We actually, this was a proposal and we built that day in, so it was only if needed.
Is there a motion? I hear a mumbled motion that we should check the Farmer's Almanac and see if it's, you have? And what did it say?
What you presented.
Shall I? No.
I would move approval of the year-round CMA, early college, middle college as presented in their entirety.
All right. Is there any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the revised calendars, inclement weather days for CMA, early college, and middle college as presented to us tonight. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That one's unanimous.
Good.
And we don't need to vote on year-round, or did we already? We did. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, and so we won't see you again, I guess, unless it snows or ices, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for all the additional work you've had to do on this.
Thank you.
All right. Seem to have lost my agenda, but probably doesn't matter. I think we're at the last item, which is contract with the superintendent search firm. As you all know, last Thursday, March 20th, the board interviewed search firms, and we selected Ray and Associates to provide services to us in the search for our new permanent superintendent. Tonight, we might want to review some of the reasons why we made that decision and discuss any additional information that we've received. And then we might want to talk about the contract that we would sign if we continue to move forward this way. Hold on one second. I like getting my notes. So, I mean, I spent some time today thinking about, why we made the decision that we made last time. If I can find my notes, I will be happy to share that with you, and also just open it up to other board members. But, here's some reasons why we did select them last week. We believed that they have an excellent track record and of bringing forth quality candidates, which is what we're looking for. And they have a good track record in districts that are in North Carolina and some surrounding large districts that we hold up as models by which we like to compare ourselves. They also have a national reputation for hundreds of successful searches for 39 years. We have been made aware of 2 situations where concerns were raised, so that's 2 situations out of the hundreds of successful searches that they have performed. We liked their flexibility. They allow the search to be tailored to Durham's needs, to meet our needs, to meet what this board believes our community needs and wants. They recognize the vital importance of building the profile to match our community. They use the profile that will be developed using input from the community and from the Board of Education members as individuals. They'll be using that as a focal point for their aggressive recruiting, which was another reason we liked them. They have 160 associates throughout the country, and they use these associates to actively recruit candidates who they think would be a good match for the profile that we will have developed. They do careful screening, aggressive recruitment, I mentioned that. And we very much liked how they were experienced with gathering successful input from stakeholder groups. In other words, they would come, Gary Ray would be the one who would be working with us, would come and would ask us, well, could you suggest some potential stakeholders, either as individuals that you would like us to interview, as small groups, as large groups. There were a number of different ways this could happen, and that was appealing to us because we really want a mechanism for, substantive input from our community. And they also conduct deep background and thorough checks, and they have a 2-year guarantee. So I also think they'll work with us, as long as we need them to, until we get a candidate that we like. And we have received, information that we had not discussed when we made this decision last week about 2 situations where potentially there was, some concern. Board members, you all have gotten the letter, I think, that I sent you electronically from the Madison School District Board of Education. They were one of the school districts that used Ray and Associates. An article in the newspaper identified that school district as being one that had been less than satisfied. The statement on their superintendent search dated February 11th, 2013 says that actually Ray and Associates' charge was to help the board select an excellent candidate as its next superintendent. The board is very pleased with the selection of Dr. Cheatham and appreciates Ray and Associates' skilled efforts to recruit her. They did have some concerns about one of the candidates. That candidate withdrew, but they did not have any concerns, as it turns out, with Ray and Associates themselves. So I've talked a lot. I mean, I'd like to see what you all are thinking tonight.
Well, Madam Chair, my position is the same. I'm going to vote against the Ray and Associates because I believe that we should use North Carolina.
Okay, thank you, Pastor.
I think one thing I appreciated about Ray and Associates, and you touched on it, is the fact that they bring, in their searches, they bring so many candidates compared to our previous experience and some of the other companies that we looked at. And so I'm excited to have that national group of candidates and so many to choose from there. I think that was helpful. The 2-year guarantee, and they talked a little bit about that with us. And then also that board self-assessment where they stay with us even after the superintendent has been hired to kind of coach us all through that transition. Having kind of started my school board service with a new superintendent, I think that's going to be really positive.
Okay, very good.
Well, I am a member of the North Carolina School Board Association, and of course I support the search firm that the North Carolina School Board Association has. However, I did vote for Ray and Associates because I felt that they had a stronger reach. As we look at the fact that they contacted 222 individuals for the position in Madison, with 65 candidates completing the application from 42 states. And they reviewed the application. So I think it's just a stronger reach. I also looked at Ray and Associates as being strong in terms of the diversity, not only ethnic diversity, but also gender diversity that they had in their associates they had around the United States. I know that North Carolina is strong, that we can do a national search, but Ray and Associates has placed some of our strongest superintendents in North Carolina schools, and I looked at that also as a plus for Ray and Associates. I know they're all the way an hour, but they also gave us the ability to Skype candidates, so that was one of the ways the cost could be cut by not always having people to come and visit, especially on those initial interviews, that would be a cost-saving factor for the district. So when we were looking at, do we have to fly people from 42 states? No, we don't have to do that public. We can actually Skype these people in and actually have those interviews with them using technology. So that's another reason I thought they were keen on that. So that's another reason I supported them. North Carolina was really close, and but I did choose Ray and Associates.
So my colleagues have mentioned some of the reasons that I chose Ray originally, and I stand by those reasons. I think since we've gotten the information and taken a really hard second look at Ray, I'm still convinced that they're the way to go, and partly because we can go into this knowing, I know that I'm going to go into this knowing that I want to ask them to bring every bit of background information they learn about our last couple of candidates, and let us make the judgment about whether it's important or material. And that I think we can learn from this information that has been presented to us and have a stronger search because of it. So I think all those things combined make Ray the way to go, to have a really strong, broad national search. And I'd love to end up with a North Carolina candidate or a local candidate, but I want to do that after having a really strong, broad national search.
So one of the other appealing factors that in Ray's presentation was actually including candidates in as a stakeholder group, which is an important group in this community right now, and I look forward to that piece informing this decision. I also hope that candidates know that they can call the board chair, any board member with any information, and we can have a conversation at any time over the next several months that often get emotional and heated for folks. Durham is a very discerning community, a smart community, but we're not the only smart community. So I look at searches like Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Berkeley, where there were 71 applicants brought to that board. And I think that's the kind of scope that we need, even if we have the talent right here in our own building right now to make our community trust, to rebuild that trust, and to put our best feet forward for the community going forward. So.
All right, Ms. Parker, did you have anything you wanted to add?
My first choice was the North Carolina School Board Association, but based on the fact that it's a democratic situation and the board has made the decision. However, my feeling has not changed, but I have nothing else to add.
All right, thank you. Well, my sense is then that the vote that we took last Thursday to move forward with Ray and Associates as our search firm still stands. We don't need to vote on that again.
Yes, you do.
Well, we took action officially, I thought, last Thursday.
I think what is presented to you, you took action and that action stands, but you have a contract that you'd either approve or not approve.
Right. Yes, exactly. That was going to be my next thought, was to ask for some discussion around this contract that we have presented in our packet. I do think we want to do exactly what Lee said, and that is make it perfectly clear that our expectation is we will receive every bit of background information that they find. We don't want any surprises. Bring everything forward to us and let us decide.
I think our media has already set that up for us. I think they know now. It's already been in the paper. They know Mr. Childress is on the case, so they're going to make sure they bring every snippet that's out there.
So we have Ray and Associates will, and then there are all these numbered items and for what they will be doing for us. Board members, have you had a chance to read this? Attorney, does it pass legal muster? I actually had a few questions about 6 through 8, numbers 6 through 8. Basically, any time it says, if desired, does that mean at an additional cost? My sense from our interview was that the only additional costs would be for travel, lodging, meals, postage, fax, photocopying, shipping, color printing, and long-distance calls. Those were things that were listed. Ad fees, I guess. But I assume any of those other, if desired, clauses are just kind of related to how we might tailor the search to our own needs. Do you think that that's a correct assumption, or do we need to build that in any way more tightly?
Well, if the question is asked, it always makes sense to make it clear.
Yeah.
And either you can approve a contract and direct me to make that clear in the contract, or to send it to Ray and Associates with a letter that states that that's our interpretation, that the only additional costs that would be charged are the ones that specified in the contract, and the only one that I saw just scanning through in a moment ago was drafting a contract for the new superintendent.
Right, so there's a base fee of $28,000, I believe, and then anything extra would be for those either drafting the contract, which we won't need because we have our own wonderful attorney, or any of those other things like travel, lodging, meals, postage, advertising, print costs, blah, blah, blah.
So you're talking specifically about points 6 and 8, though. They
Yes.
do sneak this weird if desired language in, and I do think they're trying to convey what Heidi's saying, that if we want to customize it that way, but we don't want to pay extra for those, I guess.
No.
Mr. Sue, is there a better way to word that than the way it is?
Yes, we can specify it. I mean, I think I probably would revise the consultant fee paragraphs. I mean, if you want, we can either try to work out language now, or you can approve it with the changes that we would make working with Ray and Associates to make it clear that you or do not agree to pay any additional fee for the customization process.
Mr. Sue, should we also consider having a limit on reimbursable expenses, so that if they go beyond that point, it has to be pre-approved?
I like that idea a lot.
You can certainly do it.
They've been talking about $6,500 to $7,000. You might want to set that as a limit. And then if it goes beyond that, then you want to
And we could approve to
ahead
go
of time.
beyond that,
You
but
could.
we would have to know. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Used to dealing with contracts. Yes.
Okay, so, number 7, and I think it's another place, or excuse me, number 6, and then I think it's in one of the other bullets. They say, with the Durham Public School staff. And I guess my worry is that they would, without some protection for our staff, that they may overtax our staff. Like, I don't think that Ray and Associates will do this, but I don't want them to have unrealistic expectations of what our staff should be able to do. Is there any way that we can, and every time I read that, I kind of cringe and think, wow, I hope that they've got enough people on their end doing this work so that they're not constantly saying, well, you guys didn't do what you needed to do.
Right.
And schedule because you haven't devoted enough of the PICES team and superintendent's team.
Is that in there anywhere else, Nancy? I read that.
I'm looking at it differently.
Yeah, me too.
I'm looking at it as a way to say, okay, you smart people down here in Durham, you may want to do your own thing, and we'll work with your staff to develop it. But
Yeah.
if you trust us as a search firm, we can go on and do the promotional flyer. I want to say, look, for the amount of money that you're getting paid, you will do the flyer, you will do the sample.
You
letter,
do it, we
you will
edit
do-
it,
you-
yeah.
All we do is pass it out or whatever.
Right, so-
Upload it to our staff. We don't work our staff with anything, because that's why we're paying them. With
Exactly.
their proven mechanism.
Right.
Yep.
And so I like the way, I like the way you're reading it. It's much more optimistic. I'm being more suspicious. And so
I know,
I'm-
right.
And I'm still sticking, like, so
That's why we
she
got
just
Kim.
said, that, but we edit it. So they develop it and we edit it. And then they say, well, we couldn't get that out because your team didn't edit it in time. I just,
No, they get it out.
is there anything we can do in the contract language to protect that they don't overtax our staff, that they don't expect too much from our staff, that they really are doing what we're paying them?
Right. Don't overtax, but at the same time, take advantage of, our knowledge of our district and.
They're your staff. They can't do anything with your staff that you don't want them to do.
Right.
So I'm not that concerned about that,
Okay.
honestly.
But do y'all want to require them to do the flyer?
I think we'll discuss that when they come the first time, I think. I don't know if we want to make that decision tonight about who's going to do the flyer, but,
Are you approving the contract tonight?
I'm imagining they will do it, but.
It says the print of the flyer will be the.
Right.
Only thing we have to do is print it. They
Right.
will develop it.
Right.
We will print it.
Yeah.
I would make a motion that we approve the contract with the changes that we've discussed to be incorporated by our.
And those,
The caveat that our lawyer will make sure that everything is for us.
and the two items I have are customization to whatever kind of process the district wants will be at no additional charge. And that expenses above $8,000 will have to be approved by the board in advance.
7.
Yeah.
I gave them more. If you want 7,
We want 7.
okay.
We want 7.
Or 7,500.
Yeah.
All right, is there a second, or did someone already second it? There's a motion on the floor. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the terms of agreement for the superintendent search services for Durham Public Schools with the revisions that Mr. Sue, our attorney, will be making in those two areas regarding customization and not to exceed $7,000 in expenses over and beyond the base fee.
Without approval by the board.
Without approval by the board. Any other discussion? All right, those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-1. Motion passes 6-1. I feel like we also need to talk a little bit about a timeline, just so we will be able to say to Mr. Ray, can you come down, on this date and begin the work? And so they have a suggested process and timeline for Durham Public School Superintendent Search, and we have it here before us. And it includes, stage 1, which would be the board input and preparation. And I think that's we need to talk about that tonight. The other parts we might be able to talk about with them when they're here, to help us sort of to facilitate that discussion. But I definitely would like for us to talk about, when the consultant planning meeting could be, when they will come down and work with the board through individual board member interviews. And at that time, I also think we will begin to identify potential constituents and internal and external stakeholders that we would want them to work with. So they're proposing 3/27, that's today. So clearly that's not going to happen. So that would need to have meetings with constituent stakeholder groups. I'm assuming they want that to be after they've met with us to talk about who those constituents and
No, all of this is going to have to change because we're not starting on today.
It's going to push back at least a week.
It's going to push back.
So next week Monday would be 3/31, right? Perhaps, it seems like we might be able to meet with him that first week in April. And then if we could meet with him that first week in April, then this calendar might be able to go forward from that point, or we maybe would have to shift it a week or something.
Yeah, four board members will leave on April 2nd.
Darn, right.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Wednesday.
Okay.
I don't know when you're going.
That's
I leave
next
on a Wednesday.
Okay, so then Thursday
gosh.
Right.
And then you come back. So the earliest we could do it would be the Monday of that following.
What about Monday or Tuesday of next week? What about the 31st or April Fool's Day, April 1st? I do love April Fool's
I think
Day.
that'd be a great day to start something big.
Well, I won't be a
People
part
want to
of
get their
that day.
calendar out.
I have a.
No, today was the original date they suggested starting.
On the 8th.
Well, I don't think we can wait until after everybody gets back from NSBA. So I think we need to do it either Monday or Tuesday.
That's fine. What are you suggesting? Monday or Tuesday?
I'm suggesting Monday or Tuesday.
In other words, you're suggesting we have it earlier.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm thinking either Monday the 31st or April the 1st.
And at this meeting, we would then, work with Gary Ray to put together a more specific timeline that looks like this one, but with more specific dates for us that we would all agree on. And there will be several things we'd want to discuss, like, well, when is the final selection of the superintendent going to be? Who are the stakeholder groups that we have identified? Things like that.
You do have some of those fundamental questions that sort of determine whether you can afford to wait or not. And if you want to, for example, have the final vote on a superintendent before the elections in May, that would be one thing. If you wanted to have a final vote on the superintendent before the new board members took office, that'd be another thing. If you want to have a final vote after the new board members take office, that would be a whole other set of parameters and timeframes and tell you what you could afford to wait for or not, I think.
Could we try the Tuesday the 1st? And is that
How does that
I
look to
saw
people?
some calendars out for that preliminary meeting, that first meeting.
I'm fine.
Mm-hmm. I could do that.
I assume we're talking about during the workday, right?
I could do it in the morning.
Got a couple of
up until 1, and I could do it after 4:30.
I have stuff, but I can try and change it. Monday I'm on the Teacher of the Year interview.
Yay!
Not due Monday.
Way to go, Nancy.
Should we aim for the morning of the 1st or early afternoon? Oh,
Mhm.
you're not.
Morning of the 1st would be good.
Okay. And I'm thinking this is like an hour? Is that?
I bet it might be a little longer than an hour.
Think an hour and a half or something? Okay.
Yeah, no more than 2.
Meeting?
I think so.
Is it a public meeting? So are we gonna be able to announce it in time?
For
Mhm,
Tuesday?
mhm,
Okay, great.
mhm.
Okay, good.
And it could be Skype even. I mean, it does not have to involve a plane ticket.
It could be Skype. I actually think there's benefit in having him come and working with us. Yeah.
Because didn't he wanna meet with us?
But that could be by phone. I mean, it could be by phone. I really believe that there would be benefit for this board in having him come for this first meeting to work us through
I
this.
could see coming for the first one and then doing some, we'll pick some others, things that we do Skype.
See, I think I'm thinking the exact opposite. I'm
Okay.
thinking that this, just setting the timeline, is not the most important.
Well,
I'm
interviewing
thinking
us,
it's when he's going to do board interviews at that time?
Yeah.
Okay, well then, I see.
That's our understanding.
You don't have to do it if you don't want to. It's part of the, package that they offer, but we can't force anyone to do. I know I can't force you to do anything, Omega, you don't want to do.
But they're interviewing candidates and board members. So,
I thought they're not.
I mean, they're not interviewing, but talking
Yeah.
to
Focus group of
candidates and
one-on-one with board members.
They want to interview individual board members, which I think is great.
I like that.
I want to give my input.
Did I make a motion?
Well, yeah, so let's,
Do we need a motion for the timeline, or is that just something that we're discussing?
well, I think we're talking about
Just when the meeting.
the date. We've kind of settled in on the first. I think we're talking about whether he's going to fly in, and or whether we can do that via Skype.
but so Minnie, are you feeling like there is more value in him flying because we're going to go ahead and do some interviews that day?
Well, I think if I've never done Skype, but I think we could do a Skype interview, and that's, I'm fine with that as well. I think it's more important when we get down and some of the stuff that we pay for him to fly.
Oh, he's absolutely will have to be here to do those constituent group meetings
Right.
and things.
That can be, yeah.
And they could be.
Yeah.
Is this a open interviewing process that we're agreeing to?
Not if it's individual.
Well, it isn't necessarily. So in other words, anybody can interview a board member and it not be a public meeting. I would say that any
Okay,
notes
I'm hearing the
would
word
be.
interview. Are we talking about this company already finding candidates?
No.
What do you,
Talking about
Interviewing
them
you.
interviewing us.
oh, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, you need to interview me.
He wants to interview board members to find out what our beliefs are about what the attributes we want in our superintendent.
And
You can do whatever you want. I just see this as a service we're paying for, and I want to have the opportunity to talk his ear off.
Right, and more to that, I think he also wants to be able to tap into the unique perspective of each board member, recognizing, especially in Durham, how we're elected by individual districts, consolidated districts. He's working through us to get to know the community.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So after all of this conversation, then we got to come back and set a schedule in terms of what Attorney Sue was saying.
We could set the schedule when he's here on Tuesday morning, assuming that works. He could interview board members, and we could, talk
that's
through.
what I'm thinking that's going to be. You do the timeline,
Yes.
and you do the interviews at that time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all in one fell swoop.
And then the next time they would be back would be to begin meetings with constituents and stakeholder group representatives.
So at this time, you're going to give him those constituents and stakeholders and all of that, people that he needs to interview. So it's going to be all of that on the first. So we should be prepared with our the partner organizations that are part of the Literacy Summit, those organizations that are not a part, that we know that they need to interview, those PACs and very, strong constituents that are out there. Yeah, so all of those we need to have, so we need to start putting our thinking caps on so we come in, and not to say that we can't add to the list, but definitely knowing who it is these people need to touch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm thinking that I've mentioned this before when we were talking about the Literacy Summit. We've developed lists, like when Dr. Becoats came on board and we wanted to introduce him to the community, we developed the constituency groups then. When we wanted input on the strategic plan, we had the list of constituency groups then. And then when we've done, I feel like there's one other that just popped out of my head. We have, PICE has, good.
Yeah.
Okay,
We have good resources for that, don't we?
So
yeah, and
I'm
after
changing now. Maybe he does need to come. We do need. I'm changing now. We do need to see him face to face.
I mean, I also want to say that the resources, the source of the funding for this, I'm assuming will be our fund balance. That's what I'm assuming. And I actually think this is a perfect example of what you might use fund balance dollars for. It's an unexpected expense that we have to undertake, and it's one time. And so,
Of course, if there is some generous person or group in our community, that ones who have already offered this to put in some money, of course, with no strings attached, this is a board decision that will be made. We'll generously take your gratefully take your money for this. Thank you.
all right. Do we have a motion? Do we need another motion? What we voted on the contract. We could just sort of settle on.
The board chairs have the authority to set a meeting. If you guys have a consensus on when the meeting is supposed to be, the board chairs can just set that.
All right. So April 1st, do we pick a time? Okay, well, I guess we should probably see when Mr. Ray can be here.
But so
we'll be
saying
working.
We'll be free that morning. I'm gonna block it.
Yes, I think so.
He was our first candidate.
Yes.
At 8:30.
That's true. So he managed to get here.
Fine.
We'll work through our wonderful board liaison to help figure out when board members what time the meeting will be. I'll do a good bulk of that work for you with you. Maybe at 10 or something. Does that sound good to people? Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. We'll figure that part out. Great. This was a great discussion. And can somebody show me the agenda, please?
Can I make a motion to go into closed session?
Yes.
I make a motion to go into closed session to consider personnel matters and to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel records pursuant to the 143-318.11A1 and 6 and 115C-319, and also to consult with the board attorney to preserve the attorney-client privileges provided for in North Carolina General Statute 318.11A3.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that we go into closed session for those reasons stated. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you, audience, for being here with us while we did this work. We appreciate your viewing. Now we're in closed session.
Let me know when you're ready for me to do the.
Okay, we are back in open session, and Mr. Osteen, I think you have something for us.
Board members would like to submit the March 27th, 2014 personnel report for action.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the interim superintendent's recommendation to approve the personnel report for March 27th, 2014. Any discussion? Those in favor, say aye. Aye. It is those opposed.
Abstain.
And one abstention. So it passes 6. I don't know what it passes. There's one abstention. 6 people are in favor of it. It passes. I don't think people can abstain. I don't know, but anyway. I don't know. I can't remember what our policy says on that, but it passes. The personnel report is approved, but by what vote? Help. Okay, so it passes unanimously, 7-0. There being no further business.
Madam Chair, I'd just like, before we leave, want to call your attention, board members, to this primer for public advocacy that I put at your desk, and the school to prison pipeline data that I've also put at your desk, so that we're aware when we start to do our advocacy. Thank you.
Okay, all right, very good. No further business. We are adjourned.